Welcome back to the Awakening with Kelvin Phiri podcast, and welcome to another powerful episode under the Bridges to Prosperity series. Today, we take a deep dive into one of the most transformative announcements Zambia has made in recent years, the Presidential Constituency Energy Initiative. This is a plan to build a 2-megawatt solar farm in every single constituency across the country, all 156 of them. When I first read about this, my immediate question was simple. What does this really mean for the ordinary Zambian? What does it mean for our communities, for our power supply, and for the future of this nation? And now, thanks to the detailed reporting in the paper, we finally have a clearer picture. Before we begin, I want to make it clear that this episode is for information and public education. It is not political advice, not legal advice, and not financial advice. My aim is to help all of us understand this national initiative in simple, clear language. Let's begin. A new era for Zambia's energy future. Zambia has relied on hydropower for generations, and it has served us well. But climate change has changed the game. When drought hits and water levels fall, the entire nation feels the impact. Businesses slow down, households suffer, students struggle to study at night, and farmers cannot irrigate. We have lived through this. So the announcement that every constituency will now begin producing its own power is not just interesting. It is a fundamental shift in the way Zambia thinks about energy. It is a shift from depending on one river system to building resilience in every corner of the country. It is a shift from a centralized energy model to a decentralized one. This is the strategic direction behind the Presidential Constituency Energy Initiative. Let's pause here and break the numbers down in simple, everyday language. Zambia enjoys strong sunshine almost the entire year. A 2-megawatt solar plant can generate roughly 4 million units of electricity annually. An average Zambian household uses about 100 units per month, which is about 1,200 units a year. This means one 2-megawatt solar plant can supply the electricity needs of about 3,000 to 3,400 households in that constituency. And when we multiply that across the entire country, this initiative has the potential to support well over 500,000 households nationwide. That is not theory. That is real, usable power. Now, the newspaper gave us the financial detail that everyone was waiting for. The total cost of this project is 4.6 billion kwacha. To get the work started, government has already released 2.3 billion kwacha as initial equity. In US dollars, this is about 100 million. This initial financing did not come from one place. It is a blend. About 920 million kwacha is being taken from the Constituency Development Fund. This is coming from the loan component as well as the disaster component of the fund. The remaining 1,380 million kwacha is being provided by ZCCM Investment Holdings as an equity contribution. This partnership between the Constituency Development Fund and ZCCM Investment Holdings is the first of its kind at this scale, and it signals the seriousness of the project. The Ministry of Local Government explained that they have restructured the 2026 Constituency Development Fund to release about 826 million kwacha, which will help meet the CDF portion of the equity. Each constituency is expected to contribute about 5.9 million kwacha toward the project, but only about 603,000 kwacha of this will come from community projects. The rest is coming from restructuring the loan and disaster components. Importantly, the ministry stressed that no ongoing or already approved community projects for 2026 will be cancelled or disrupted. So maternity wards, boreholes, chiefs' palaces, school blocks, and ongoing developments will continue. This was a major concern for many citizens, and it has now been clarified how the project will be managed. One of the most important pieces of information from the newspaper is how the project will be implemented. First, a dedicated project management unit will be established specifically to coordinate and accelerate the deployment of these solar farms. This is important because it means the program will not be run in a casual or disorganized manner. It will have a specialized team focused only on this work. Second, a special purpose vehicle will be created, bringing together the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Local Government, and ZCCM Investment Holdings. This special structure ensures financial accountability and long-term sustainability. Third, the Ministry of Energy will act as the project manager through its relevant agencies. This means all technical standards, engineering oversight, inspections, and timelines will be overseen by the ministry responsible for energy, not by individual councils. Fourth, private sector companies and development partners will be brought on board for technical expertise and additional financing. This widens the pool of resources beyond government alone. Finally, the solar farms will make use of existing power substations and connection points wherever possible. This reduces time, cost, and the need for new heavy infrastructure. This implementation plan is one of the strongest indicators that this initiative is not simply a political statement, it is a structured program with clear management systems. One detail that surprised many people came from Minister Elvis Nkandu. He said the government expects Zambians to begin seeing 2-megawatt systems in their constituencies within 4 months. That is an aggressive timeline. But when you consider that the sites will use existing substations and existing connection infrastructure, and that a dedicated project management unit is being set up, it becomes more realistic. This could make Zambia one of the fastest countries in Africa to deploy decentralized solar at national scale. One of the most transformative aspects of this initiative is not just the power generation, it is the economic model. Once the solar plants are built, the electricity generated will be sold to ZESCO. Every constituency will earn income, actual dividends from its equity contribution to the solar project. This creates a new stream of revenue for local councils. It means each constituency now owns an energy asset that will generate income for decades. Local councils will have more funds to improve public services, maintain infrastructure, and meet local needs without depending entirely on central government. This is what development economists call local revenue empowerment. Beyond revenue, there are wider benefits. Construction of a solar plant requires labor, welders, technicians, builders, electricians, excavator operators, drivers, and local contractors. That alone injects money into local economies. But even more important is what happens after the power starts flowing. Stable electricity is the foundation of nearly every modern activity. Shops can stay open longer. Welders can work without interruption. Clinics can store medicines safely. Students can study at night. Farmers can irrigate small fields. Small industries can grow. Energy reliability builds confidence, and confidence is what attracts investment. The newspaper article makes it clear that the aim of this initiative is to contribute to national energy security through proportional capacity allocation. In simple language, this means every constituency becomes part of the national solution. Instead of placing all pressure on Kariba, Kafue Gorge, or a few large power stations, Zambia is spreading the risk. When one system is affected by drought, the entire country will not collapse. This is how countries build resilience. When we put all of this together, the financing, the project structure, the timeline, the revenue model, and the national impact, it becomes clear that this initiative has the potential to reshape Zambia's energy landscape. If implemented effectively, this could become the moment we look back on and say, this is when Zambia decentralized power. This is when development became local. This is when every constituency started contributing to national growth. It is a bold step, it is a necessary step, and it is a step aligned with a modern, forward-looking nation. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Awakening with Kelvin Phiri podcast. This is the Bridges to Prosperity series, where we explore policies, ideas, and innovations that can move Zambia forward. If you found this episode helpful, please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Share it with someone who needs to understand this initiative more clearly. Together, let's keep building bridges toward a prosperous Zambia.